At the time of recording this video, I've made my clients over $40 million in sales, and I scaled 2 of them from $0 to $10 million in sales, which is what got me the ClickFunnels 10X award. Now, while we made the $40 million in sales, we still made a lot of mistakes, which easily cost us at least double the money. And there's 10 specific marketing and sales mistakes that we've made that I would like to cover in this video, and then also give you workarounds on how you can avoid them in growing your business. All right, so mistake number 1 is delegating sales too soon. I get it, you don't want to do sales, but sales is the most important part of your business. And disregarding sales is literally the equivalent of blowing past 5 basketball players and literally still missing the shot right underneath the net. Because sales is what justifies all of your marketing budget, all the effort that you spend on advertising your services and promoting your services. And delegating sales too soon can be literally detrimental to your business and to your, especially sales momentum if you're in the stage of growing. And I would like to give you an example with a client. She was a career coach. I worked with her. I ran her ads about 7-8 years ago. She was good at sales, closing at 30% plus, but she didn't like sales for some reason. And one of her biggest dreams was to delegate sales as soon as possible. Well, she did. She hired someone, brought the guy on board and trained him for 2 months and literally gave all the sales calls to him. And obviously he started closing at 10%. And also on top of that, because she wasn't really tracking the sales numbers, she realized that after 1 or 2 months, sales started dropping. And not just sales started dropping, but her business also started dropping. She literally went from making $50K per month to like $12K per month. And she was in the red because she was also spending $10,000 per month on advertising. And then what happened was that she said, hey, my business is falling apart and I have to downscale. She stopped the ads. And guess what? I mean, obviously I stopped working with her, but she never got back to that same $50K per month level or above that. And that's all, in my opinion, because she delegated sales out too soon. And instead, she should have done it a lot slower. If you're trying to bring on new sales reps, start by giving them like 2-3 calls per day, right? You give them 2-3 calls per day. You look at their performance for 2 weeks, and then you make a decision. You know, if they're good, you double their sales calls. You give them 4 calls per day, and so on and so forth. But you never start giving them all the calls, not even half the calls. You have to start very slow. So mistake number 2 is not posting organic content. Look, I get that. Ads are great. Frank Kern is saying that if you learn how to convert $1 into 2, you will never be broke. All that stuff. Hey, I've personally spent over $5 million in ad spend for my clients with these bare hands, and coming straight from the horse's mouth, I'm still saying that organic content is very important. Especially, it has 2 qualities. Number 1, it helps you stabilize your sales, and I'll explain how, but it also helps you to scale past the 100K per month level. Now, if you want to just do 50 to 100K per month, you can get away without posting organic content. You can just have a very good funnel, like a VSL funnel of some sort, or send out cold emails. And if your offer is good, sales is good, you're going to be closing whatever, up to 100K per month. But if you want to scale past 100K, 250K, maybe even up to $1 million a month, then you cannot just rely on ads. Also, ads have a quality where your ad accounts get shut down, which is exactly what happened to one of my clients. So I had this client, she was a business coach, and we ran ads. We ran tons of ads. Some months we'll literally spend up to $100,000 per month on advertising, which is what has allowed us to scale our business very rapidly. We literally went from 0 to 300K plus per month plus in just 18 months, right? The offer was good, the funnel was good, and we thought we were invincible, but then something happened. Facebook literally blocked our ad account, and it never happened to us before. It was also kind of early in my career, and it took us some time to unblock it. But the scary part was that we literally went from 30 sales calls booked a day to like 3, right? Now, obviously, there were some workarounds that we could do. We had like a 5-people sales team. They needed calls, so we basically started emailing our list, and emails kind of helped us survive because we had like a very big email list. And if we didn't have that email list, we would be totally toast, right? Because salespeople are also on commission and they're sitting around and we're waiting, right? And if you don't give them calls for like a week or 2, they're going to leave. Your best guys are going to leave immediately. And if they are on payroll, in your case, you're paying them money for free, right? So it's in your best interest to figure it out as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, even after we figured it out, we've restored the ad account, we still would have times when it would get blocked. We would have replacement ad accounts, but we still never scaled to over 300K per month. Because again, like I said, there's this quality when it comes to organic content, especially in this day and age, because there's like the competition is so fierce. It's not another backup source of leads, but it also almost adds on top, builds on top of your advertising. Because when people watch your advertising, we're living in the age of social media. They'll go and check your Instagram, they'll go check your YouTube, they'll go check your TikTok or LinkedIn, depending on your space, on your industry. And if you have that presence there, well, guess what? They're not going to trust you so much, and they will cancel on your sales call, or you'll have to do a lot more of the selling when it comes to the sales call. So not organic running content is one of the biggest regrets, which, by the way, we're not repeating anymore. All of my clients are running some sort of organic content. I'm not saying you have to become Mr. Beast or basically like a TikTok king or TikTok queen, but you have to have some presence, right? And at least semi-consistent presence on social media and posting at least once a week so that people see that your social media accounts are live. This is a live human being, and it's still a functional business. And if you can do more than that, even better. So mistake number 3 is not tracking data. Look, growing your business is pure math, and this is something I realized early on, that revenue equals leads, or like how many leads you get, multiplied by the value of your offer, how much money you make per client, and then multiplied by your sales conversion rate, how many leads you actually convert into paying clients. And if you can't scale, then the problem is in either one or more of these basic variables, right? Offer, leads, or sales conversion rate. And the only way to find out which piece is broken is by measuring performance. And the only way to measure your performance and compare it against like an industry average or a benchmark, the only way to do that is to track the numbers, right? And the good thing is you don't need fancy software for that. Like a lot of times you can get away with a Google Sheet. I literally still run Google Sheets and Excel sheets with my clients up to a point they're making a couple of $1 million a year, and then we switch to something more sophisticated. Like we start adding very sophisticated sales CRM, tracking tools, but you can literally get away with a Google Sheet up until, I would say, $3 to $5 million a year, no problem. Now, a client example that I'd like to give you for this one is actually one of the clients that I worked with. His name is Thorsten Kreutz, and I literally scaled them from $60K per month to $660,000 per month. We made $1.9 million in Q1 of 2023, I think. There's a case study on my channel, but basically what happened with them is that when I came on board, they said, hey, we have a lead problem, right? Like, you're good with advertising. Can you help us figure out the leads? And after I ran the math, basically reviewed the sums, tracking sheets they had, and implemented some of my new ones as well, I realized that, hey, these guys they get enough leads. They get leads at a cost competitive cost. In fact, their cost per lead is actually slightly better than their competitors, but why is it that they're still stuck at $60K per month? And then I looked at their offer, right, which is variable number 2 in the equation, besides leads and sales. I looked at their offer and I realized they were making like $5,000 per client, which is nothing. Over the next 3 months, I literally reviewed their entire offer structure, redid their offer ascension, we removed what was unnecessary, and we added offers, continuity, and upsells, and we literally more than doubled their customer lifetime value from $5,000 to $12,200. And this is literally what allowed us to scale, to break past the plateau where they were stuck. We first went from 60K to 300K, and then from 300K to all the way 660K plus, because we were making a lot of money per client, and we could spend, basically reinvest all that money on advertising, and it was all great. Right? So that's mistake number 3. Mistake number 4 is not talking to your clients. Back when I was, again, starting my career in marketing, one of the best, most meaningful quotes I ever read, I think it was from Gary Halbert, and he said, your client writes the best copy, right? Not the fancy copywriters, not the hours of research you do by reading other sales copy, which is good, but really talking to your clients and taking verbatim what they say and using that as a copy is literally the best thing ever. And you have to talk to clients since day one, and not just to write copy. It literally improves you all around. Number one, if you talk to your clients, you'll improve your product because you'll get genuine feedback. Number two, you'll build much stronger relationships and bonds with your clients. And if the relationship goes awry, they'll come to you, they won't run away from you. They'll be honest with you and try to help you to help them. And then number two, obviously, it helps you to write better marketing copy. And a culprit of a failing business, I always say this, culprit of a failing business is a business that doesn't listen to its clients. And some of the questions that you can ask them, just to kind of like give you something in this video that you can use right away, you'll see it on the screen here, but some of the questions are the following. Why is this problem so important to you, right? If granted you're a service provider or you have a product and you help them solve a problem, you ask them, why is this problem so important to you? What happens if you don't solve the problem? Why did you buy from us specifically amongst the fierce competition, right? What were your feelings about the start, about our offer, about our system? How did it change over time? What was good about it? What was not so good about it, and what we can improve? So you use answers to those questions in multiple facets of your business, be it client delivery, sales, or marketing. And I'll give you another client example for that, is that actually my biggest breakthrough in marketing period is the first client that I took to 8 figures at a ripe age of, I think it was like 23 or 24. I was 23 or 24 years old. When I was doing marketing for these guys, we were running ads and the ads were doing fine, but they were not doing fantastic. And we were kind of like plateaued at a certain level and we couldn't go past that level. And we tried everything, but ad copy just wouldn't work. I wrote the copy, the business owner wrote the copy, she was also good with marketing. We paid for fancy freelancers that charge us upwards of $150 an hour or even more. I mean, those guys the money they charge is absolutely insane. I mean, good for them, but even that didn't work until I sat down one day. I remember it was Saturday or Sunday. I still have the photo on my Facebook. I'll try to post it here. But basically, I was working at a co-working space and I said, you know what, screw it. I don't know why or how I came up with that idea, but I literally downloaded over 1,000 application forms of basically people who applied to work with us or applied for a sales call. I poured over them and I literally copy-pasted some of the most important tidbits, right? Basically, the answers to the questions that I just presented previously. And I ended up with a 24-page Word document. Basically copy pasting literally what they said. And then what I did was I kind of like massaged the document and I came up with like a 2-page document where I had the most meaningful feedback. And then what I did was literally copy pasted all of that stuff into the ad copy and then added some basic introduction and the beginning. I had 3 ad copies and each ad copy made us over $1 million. And one of the ads went on making us over $5 million because besides copy, I also realized that we worked with a lot of these spiritual workers, and I realized that using like healing stones is like a big thing for us. And one image of like basically one ad creative with like some healing stones literally made us over $5 million, right? I think we showed it to like 2 million people in grand total. So that's that. Mistake number 5 is betting too much on experiments. And the thing is, we overestimate what we can do in the short run, or basically the results we can get from experimental tests. And especially we feel that we can get a lot because gurus on the internet are telling us that, oh my God, it's so easy. You just have to create one ad. You have to just create one YouTube video. And of course, it makes sense that they say this because they want to promote or they want to sell their product. But the reality is that no matter how much starstruck you are with your favorite guru, you still have to keep a very calm and cool head and realize that when you're launching a new marketing experiment, it's literally what it is. It's an experiment. And it most likely won't work from my experience. Basically have the mindset that even if it will work, it will take at least 3 months, maybe even up to 4 or 5 months for this marketing experiment to start bringing in any results. And an example for this case I would like to bring is actually from my friend who had a client, and the client was obsessed with Alex Becker. I was like, Alex Becker everything. YouTube, Alex Becker, YouTube ads is the next big thing. And then also at the time, my friend was running the client's Meta ads, Facebook, Instagram, and Meta ads were not doing so great. They were getting about $400 cost per call, maybe $500 cost per call, and they used to get like $250, $300. So the ad cost went up by about 50-60%. And then there was the clients saying, Alex Becker said that YouTube ad is the best, biggest thing, best thing. Now, I like Alex Becker personally. I sometimes watch his channel. I think he's a very smart guy. He's certainly rich as hell, so good for him, and he knows a thing or two about YouTube. But the client was drinking too much of the Kool-Aid, and so much, the client was so impressionable that he said, hey, we're literally almost like dumping and leaving our YouTube ads, and we're moving everything to Google ads. Well, Google, because YouTube is a part of Google, and they literally went from spending 100K on Meta to spending, like 80, 90K pretty much on YouTube ads. And guess what? They ran that for the first 2 months, and then the business was a toast, at least until they got back onto Meta ads. And the business was a toast because YouTube ads were getting them $1,000 cost per call. Yeah, sure, they were getting some calls, but they were literally getting the double of the crappy results that they were getting on Meta, right? So do not drink the Kool-Aid from your favorite gurus, and always keep a calm, cool head. So that's mistake number 5. Mistake number 6, and that's probably the biggest mistake, so pay attention, is not maximizing your customer LTV. Whatever business you run, I can almost guarantee that I can go in there, look at your business, and increase your customer LTV, which is basically how much you make per client in the client's lifetime, by at least 50%. I'll be willing to bet by even 70%. Which means if you're making $5,000 per client in their lifetime, I can probably bump it up to at least 8,000, maybe even double. In some cases, I didn't double. In some cases, I tripled it with my clients. And it made everything easy. It made advertising easy because we had more money to spend on advertising. We didn't have to acquire as many clients to hit our income goals. And clients were genuinely happy because obviously we weren't selling some crap. We were selling valuable services and logical continuations, right, of our signature offers we would sell on the front end. So there's 3 ways you can make more money per client. Number 1, you can either increase your prices by improving packaging, or sometimes just saying a new price, a higher price. My mantra is that as long as you keep rising prices, but clients are buying and not basically saying it's too expensive, it means you can keep raising your price. People are seeing the value and are buying your services. If they don't see the value or it's too expensive, they can always say no, and that's going to be like a point, like a warning for you that, okay, maybe if the price is getting too high, but if not, just keep raising your price. So that's number 1. Number 2, you can upsell continuity and extensions. So essentially at the end of your signature offer, what comes after that, right? So you can sell either like a higher or more sophisticated service, or you can also sell basically the same service, but over and over. So if, for example, if you're an agency, you can do a retainer service, or you can, for example, Todd Herman, who runs a coaching program, sells the 90-day year. It's a program where he helps people accomplish what they would have otherwise accomplished in a year, in 90 days. He literally resells that coaching program over and over, and people gladly buy it. Or another way you can also increase your customer LTV is basically by offering more hands-on services, like VIP premium sorts of services. So that's not maximizing LTV. And client case study, I'm going to present to you the same one that I presented from mistake number 2 or 3 with this client, where I basically came and I realized that, hey, you guys, your customer lifetime value $5,000. It was $5,000, but then I realized that there's no natural continuation after their signature offer. They had 2 signature offers. One was $2,000, the other one was $5,000. 90% of people bought the $5,000 offer, and there was literally nothing besides it, or nothing after it. I said, why do we need the $2,000 in the first place? So let's remove the $2,000 offer. We removed it, and then we added 2 more offers on top of the $5,000 offer. We included a $12,000 upsell, which went on for a year, or we also included a $4,000 extension for people who already took the $5,000 program once and wanted to repeat it again for the same duration, which I think was 4 months or 90 days. They could do it again. And this is literally just this move alone has taken our customer lifetime value from 5 to 12.2K per client. And this is literally what has allowed us to scale to over 600K per month in revenue. So mistake number 7 is kind of similar to mistake number 5, and that is not drinking too much of the Kool-Aid from the gurus, right? And I've been around in the industry for 10 years, and this one is quite close to my heart because I've always been a service provider. I've never been like a famous guru on the internet, and it would always irk me when I would come work with a client with a very positive proven track record, and then the client basically starts talking about their favorite guru, and the guru literally makes money by selling this just one system. But then the client is convinced that their problem is in the system that the guru is selling, because the gurus, the way they frame everything is that, hey, the problem is because of this one thing I'm selling. So I hope it makes sense, right? So for example, the way I look personally at businesses is that you can either have a problem in the offer, marketing, or sales. But a guru that, for example, sells a TikTok advertising course is going to try to convince you that your problem is advertising, right? Even though your problem may not be in advertising, it might be just because your sales are crap, or like a piece or one variable of sales is crap. Maybe the follow-up, or maybe the show-up, right? Which is why I like consulting. I dive into your business and I flesh out all of your numbers and I look at them one by one. There's over 30 variables that I look per project, and then based off of that KPI, I find the exact root of the problem. And if you'd like to work with me, go to nazimconsulting.com and apply for a discovery session. But besides that, do not listen to gurus, because again, they're going to try to sell you what they have, not what you actually need, right? So it doesn't matter how hyped you are about your favorite internet marketing personality or how starstruck you are. You always have to keep a cool head. Otherwise, you're going to end up like that one case study I told you previously about the client literally moving all of their ad spend to YouTube because Alex Becker said so. And I'm sure there's some truth to what Alex Becker is saying, but they probably didn't even need that in the first place. Maybe they should have just optimized their Facebook ads a little bit better, and then maybe did an experiment with YouTube ads instead of just like going all in on it. So a little less hype, a little bit more professionalism and objectivity, and you'll be fine. Mistake number 8 is not being a sales first organization. I'm a marketing consultant, right? I know a lot about sales. I've been a chief sales officer to a SaaS company that is now worth at $80 million, and I've helped them generate over $5 million. So I know a thing or two about sales, but I'm still at heart a marketer. And I'll still say that sales is king. If you want to grow your business, you need to prioritize sales, because an organization with kind of like low leads but amazing sales will always beat an organization with like good leads but poor sales. And the problem is that too many people are focused on leads, because you know why? Because good sales is difficult. There's not that many good sales trainers out there that are pushing on the sales agenda, and also sales is very difficult to implement on your end. You know, there's very few people who naturally enjoy talking to people or naturally enjoy asking people to pay them money. But leads, on the other hand, is simple, right? All you have to do is just set up an ad, or all you have to do is just write one post and then post it and then run some ads to it, and then that's going to be great. It's a much easier and sexier sell than basically selling, but let that not confuse you or trick you, because sales is still, in my opinion, more important than leads, and not enough revenue or not enough sales does not always equate to not enough leads. If you lack sales, you need better sales more often than not. So spend tons of energy and time on either improving your sales or on encouraging and motivating your sales team and supporting it to do their best work. And also, obviously, needless to say, all of my best clients, including the 2 clients that I took to 8 figures, are sales first organizations. Mistake number 9 is not testing enough creatives. The goal of an ad is to get a click. It's always been the goal of an ad. Like, there's no quality to an ad that will get you the best quality of leads. That's just a myth, right? The more clicks you can get, the more relevant clicks. You still have to have some relevancy with your ads, but the more clicks you can get with your ad, the better. And which is why creatives is important. Creatives is literally the king of attention grabbing. Also, besides that, Meta, Facebook and Instagram, over the last, I would say pretty much 2-3 years, have been pushing more and more this agenda of basically encouraging its advertisers to focus on broad targeting. And these days, back in the day, 10 years ago, you could go and target Forbes magazine and basically look at people by their income levels. But now, a better way to run your advertising is doing broader targeting and then spending a lot of time on your copy. And I already told you how to write great copy, but also your creatives. And then you basically run these big tests. And it's almost as if your creatives and your copy do the targeting on their own without you having to actually go and manually input targeting options in your Facebook audience. Now, obviously, I'm not saying just do broad targeting. You should still experiment with your audience and see what option works best. But there's no doubt that meta advertising, at least, is moving more and more towards broader advertising, which means that a good ad that explains and gives the big picture, the most precise picture to your audience, but also gets their attention, like hooks them in, is going to be vital for your advertising success. And mistake number 10 is not following modern trends. And this is probably my biggest regret. And I used to do this a lot better when I was younger and kind of like a lot less as we grew older, and also there's some things happened that kind of like that prevented us from traveling. But basically it's all about going out to people, going out to networking events, going out to workshops, to conferences, and connecting with people, and also learning from the best. Because the truth is simply, you don't know what you don't know, right? And while it's important to be focused on making money, it's also very easy to get lost in the money making. And if you get too focused on doing what you're doing right now, and you're basically not exploring other options, or if you're not upgrading your knowledge, then you're simply not going to be prepared to what comes in, let's say, 2 years from now or 3 years from now. So it's a balancing act that you have to basically stay focused on your work, but then also have the foresight of networking and looking into modern or growing trends to also be updated and kind of like up to date with what's working in the industry right now. The good thing is you don't really have to spend that much time on it, right? I would say even if you spend 5 to 10% of your time on this, you should be all fine. But just keep in mind that, sometimes try to get out of your office or get out of your flat, go to a networking event, go to a conference, go to a workshop. Don't say no to that. And I'm sure that more often than not, you'll be pleasantly surprised. You'll connect with like-minded people. And if you have the money, you can also invest in some masterminds. Just make sure it's a good one. But yeah, make sure that you don't miss industry trends. Now, as I told you, the most important and the most valuable mistake out of this list is not maximizing your customer lifetime value, which is why right away you should go and watch this video that is called How to Create an 8-Figure Offer that Sells for Millions, and I'll see you there.